G'day and welcome. Stay tuned because we've conducted the most comprehensive test that you'll find on the internet about the Yamaha 700 Tenere. A 3,000 kilometre road test across Africa to see how the Tenere really performs.
One of the 700 Tenere's biggest spooks is how much traction it puts to the back wheel. The way the rear suspension is set up drives power to the rear wheel. But no one talks about how light the front wheel feels, how washy it is in the dirt. Really not set up for the off-road. Don't get me started on the engine. It's 700 cc's of side-by-side twin cylinder, but it only makes as much power as the KTM LC4 motor, yet it weighs so much more. There seems to be three categories of adventure bikes. Your ultra lightweight adventure bikes, then there's your rally style adventure bikes, they're slightly heavier but still light enough to throw around and get dirty on. Then there's your large adventure bikes, which are mainly only for the road. And the 700 Tenere doesn't really fit into any of those categories. It's kind of in no man's land. Tenere is heavy. It weighs 220 kilos, yet it only has 72 horsepower. Most adventure bikes that weigh this much have close to 200 horsepower. After riding this bike for 3,000 kilometers on off-road and on-road, its off-road capability has a lot left to be desired, but its on-road capability is a dream. It is a dream to ride on the road. But my question is that really what you want in an adventure bike? When it comes to the gearbox is great. Smooth changes, excellent feel, it shifts correctly every single time. Gearbox feels amazing. But yet Yamaha chose to put a cable clutch on the bike. Feels like you've got an excellent product in the gearbox, but then they cheaped out on a cable clutch, which really leaves a lot to be desired. While the engine is heavy and underpowered, it sounds amazing. Have a listen to that sound. Woo! It sounds great. Sound alone makes me want to buy one. It cackles and revs and just sounds good. Put a horn on a jellyfish, that sound. One of the other things that is notoriously bad on the Tenere is the suspension. On this particular Tenere, which has been redone, which has made it a whole lot better. But once you go off-road and you start hitting some bigger bumps and rougher dirt roads, the nav tower feels like it's going to fall off. After 3,000 kilometers, it hasn't moved, but it is very rattly, and it does move around a lot. The issue with the Tenere is the kickstand switch. All these new adventure bikes come with all these mod cons, like ABS, kickstand switches, stop you from making any mistake while leaving the kickstand down and then putting the bike in gear to take off at the service station. The issue is, the moment you hit a dirt road, a rock will flick up off the ground, hit the kickstand switch and cut the engine. So almost instantly when you do this, you need to modify the kickstand switch and bridge it out to make the bike work again.
Yamaha, baby! Most reliable bike on the trip!
He's riding in the road and the kickstand decided to turn the bike off. So we've had to cut the sensor off and hard short it so that it and go into gear. Fucking piece of shit.
It's these little things that Yamaha haven't thought of on the Tenere. Personally, I'm not a big fan of ABS in general on bikes, and the Tenere is no exception. The ABS works great at high speed. Most of the time, the bike in rally mode, which turns the ABS off altogether. But at low speed, the ABS still kicks in. So when you're doing a U-turn in a car park, and the car park's dirt, the ABS kicks in, and the front brakes won't work, and you try to run people over or hit other cars. It's really not an ideal situation. Rear brakes. Let me start on the rear brakes. I can stand on these rear brakes as hard as I possibly can till the plunger bottoms out and the rear wheel won't lock up. Now on the loose dirt, it will lock up, but I cannot get the bike to lock up on the tar. And not that you want to do that all the time, but you do want to have some feel. As opposed to the KTM brakes, which are so touchy that you lock the rear wheel anytime you go anywhere. There needs to be some sort of happy medium. A lot of the time, the front brakes feel spongy. I mean, I don't want to have race-bred, high-performance, touchy brakes on the front, but something better than spongy brakes would help. The other thing that's a drawback on the Tenere is it only has a 16-litre tank. This leaves quite a short distance to be able to ride when you're on adventures. This may be okay in Europe, but in Australia, it doesn't really cut it. Now, for those unplanned detours you might want to take when you're on your adventure. Yet, with all these drawbacks, the Tenere kind of feels like a good bike. We did 3,000 kilometres on this bike, and it never gave us hardly any issues. Kickstand switch, yes. Flat tyres on the front, yes. But really, it's been a brilliant bike. I really can't fault it in any other way. It's reliable. It sounds magnificent. The gearbox is great. It feels solid when you ride it. Yes, heavy, but solid. Nice. Even off-road, it's not too bad. It feels jarring, but it gets through everything. We did some hard trails, some steep hills, some muddy sections, rocky stuff. It took on everything well. On-road handling of the Tenere is awesome. You can trust it. You can trust the back wheel, you can trust the front wheel. It doesn't feel like it wants to tuck. It's like the way they designed the Tenere was for on-road use. It's super solid in the rear. The road and front end feels nice. It doesn't feel like it wants to tuck at all. I can get the bike so low to the ground around corners that I can scrape the edge of my foot on the ground. The Tenere's styling and looks are amazing. They look great. They look aggressive. And the sound is just amazing. Won't get a better sound than that. Tenere being so heavy makes it hard to pick up. You need to be a strong man to pick up Tenere. They're heavy, and it makes it even harder if you're on the dirt. My personal opinion is that adventure bikes should be as light as possible, but also have the power and the fuel range to be able to go in those hard to reach places. And if you're not picking up an adventure bike on an adventure, is it really an adventure?
So the Yamaha Tenere, why would you buy one? It doesn't fit into any adventure bike class in reality. It's heavy. It has 72 horsepower. Why would you not go and buy a KTM 790 or an 890, which has nearly 30 more horsepower, yet weighs the same? I'll give you one reason. The price. The Tenere goes for $9,900 US, whereas the KTMs go for somewhere between $15,000 and $16,000 US. So if you're more of a tame adventure bike rider who prefers more light dirt and tar, this might just be the adventure bike for you.